You'll not believe this. You know, Grace and Ben Thorp and Ruby, they've been at odds with one another for some time. For good reasons, especially on Ruby's side. Okay? But they're going to make peace. So Ben appears on Ruby's stream.
Hi. How's it going?
It's going real well, and I did have a long conversation with Grace in which I did say, and she did follow through and say, like, the stuff, we don't have to get into it, but a lot of the stuff that she's done with you and we've done with you, it rides a line. It's totally unnecessary, and I can say whatever you want. Like, we have no intention of showing up in South Carolina, and don't encourage anyone to do that. So that's sincere. I mean, I think you know, like, it would be stupid what we even do. But
look at that. Ben appears on stream, on Ruby's stream, not to bombard her with more stories about using her dead brother, not to harass her in any sort of way, but to kind of in a way back off and kind of say things escalated too quickly, to kind of apologize in a way. What? I don't think I've ever heard Ben say that or even act like this. What's the angle here? And how does Ruby respond? Let's check this out.
Exactly. So yeah. I appreciate that, but I'm curious, what do you think about, so you didn't hear about this until you just saw me playing? I mean, this just happened. That episode, I believe, is still live. I was just watching it. And then when I saw...
All right. I'm going to let you know what the angle is. I mean, she's going to let you know right here, too. You see, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay? It's one of those situations.
Whip up that scenario. I was like, this is too funny. I need to make a stream about this.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Is it true? What? Tell us.
Well, I do think, okay, so if I'll say this, I think is true as a streamer to streamer, we don't have to get personal. Keem has alienated some of the best talent that he has. Like, you would have been, I always said you would have been great on that show. You're a queen. Everyone on their show said Grace should be on that show. She's a queen. Lynx has her own thing, a little different than you guys, but like, she's a superstar. And then I actually predicted the Savage thing. I was like, she's too entertaining. He's going to boot her. But now you've got all the stars off the show, and they're left with, you know, I would say Becky's talented. You agree with that?
Hacks.
Yeah, absolutely. They have some talent, but I agree. They're quickly alienating anyone who's like, because Pupstar does have a lot of talent, but it's like they just lay down all these insane rules, and it's like, who would want to work with that? Also, when you have to say that you're not going to do any of your own individual streaming, that hurts you, Keem. You're creating an insular universe that's increasingly irrelevant.
Right. But as a streamer, like I was saying, when Savage, and I know you guys were shit-talking each other, but you, Ava, Grace, and Savage, that was better than anything LCU puts out. I'm sorry. It just was. In terms of the quality.
Oh, yeah, that stream was. That stream was pretty brutal on Grace.
Entertainment. And I understand, like, there was some personal stuff, but if that can be gotten over, and like, I would just say that, like, women have a way in which they want to make the bag. Like, I don't know that they care as much about, like, looking good as getting the bag. Whereas Keem seems like he just wants to look good, and he doesn't care how much real talent he alienates. So I think, it is kind of interesting that, like, in a certain sense, the Voldemorts actually rule their...
Okay, some context is going to be needed here. What I did not show you, what they did not say, reveal yet, and I don't know if they will. I don't know how long it's going to take before we get to that. Here's the context. There's a person named Pupstar who is part of this Locale Dolls. What's Locale Dolls? It's another one of those Locale live sister channels. You have locale queens, you got locale milkers, and then you have locale dolls. Locale dolls is like locale live, but for teen Vogue, for teenage girls. So are you interested? No, you're not, unless you're Spicoli. If you're Spicoli, you're very interested for the wrong reasons. Okay? Now, the thing here is Pupstar was on that show, and she was essentially fired off that show because they think, when I say they, Keemstar and the people running it, believe that Pupstar is Ben's puppet. What? That's right. They're so paranoid. Lord Tyrant King Keem is so paranoid and so afraid of Ben Thorp and Grace Thorp. Anyone that is ever caught crossing paths in the slightest, it could be on a dating panel with the Thorps, is seen to be an associate with the Thorps or of the Thorps. Does that seem not insane to you? No, it's very insane to you, right? It's like, what kind of delusional thinking are you engaging in, Keem? So Pupstar, at one point in time, appeared on a dating panel, and guess who was there? Well, Ben Thorp, as he normally is on these dating panels, because he's looking for a new wife. Okay? I don't know what sort of interaction they had, but that's about the extent of it. But the locale dolls and Keem would have you believe, but no, Pupstar is working with Ben Thorp as some sort of secret troll, like a Trojan horse thing, okay? To kind of get in there and mess things up. And what does that tell you about Keem? That he's so afraid of Ben Thorp and Grace Thorp that even uttering the name is forbidden. You can't even say the name. That's not power. That's not strength. That's weakness. If you can't say someone's name, that means you fear it. That means you fear that name. And if that's where you are, that thing you fear, that person you fear, the family you fear, here, Ben and Grace, have power over you. And that's just a fact. So let this be known. Keemstar is essentially Ben Thorp's bitch. That's right. Ben Thorp and Grace Thorp have essentially bent over Keemstar and have sodomized him and continue to do so in his nightmares. After all, that's why they have to call him Voldemort. Voldemort, a Harry Potter reference. They have to treat them like the thing that cannot be named. They're that taboo. They're so forbidden. You cannot even say the name. Now, I'll continue to play this now that you have the context.
Because actually, I never read Harry Potter, but isn't it true that like by calling someone Voldemort, you give them more power? Isn't that even true within Harry Potter?
It's crazy. Like,
no script, by the way. That was just on top of my head.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Well, it depends who it's productive for. But if you're rooting for the LCU, then you would say it's counterproductive. But if you're actually saying like, well, you could set up an alternative LCU, go head to head with them and take all their viewers, then it's quite productive. You know what I mean? Like every negative thing has a positive thing to it. And I think Shittucky, as far as Pupstar, I interact with her for a couple of minutes. I'm not going to say right here and now whether I do have a relationship with her beyond that, but like,
whoa,
maybe.
Could there be some weird, I don't know about weird, but could there be a relationship there?
Yeah, I do. Because I have had a lot of interactions with Black YouTube, and I have encouraged lot of Black YouTubers to get into the Laucow sphere. They have a really hard time, but Pupstar is not as hesitant. And I know as a white, it's not so much Black people are victims, but like any person who feels like an outsider, like when I was in the Blackosphere, it was tough. You know what I mean? You're treated differently. And so to be like immediately so judgmental about, especially I think a 19-year-old girl, I mean, who doesn't seem to be that like crazy of a person at all. But on
No,
top
and
of
she's
it,
like
that
in
she's
school. She has her life like very together, you know, and she's obviously very competent and would, you know, be good in that universe to the point where I think he needs to at least see like if there's someone who's really talented, maybe give them a longer leash. Okay, if you're gonna run this whole cult operation, you know, but he won't even do that.
If you're bringing, if the audience is mostly male, which it is, I mean, she's a very attractive woman.
Beautiful, big boobs out, like.
Yeah,
like everything they're looking for, she is, except they can't control her. But that's why
they can't control her. Akeem can't have that. Keemstar needs to be able to control the ladies. Oh, is that Hurricane Poirot? They try to put the word in the sentence and doesn't show? I don't know. I don't have any banned words on this channel. I don't think anyway. I just shouldn't.
It's like they don't get that. Like,
and I agree. Like, and also I would imagine, just he would be normally looking for like a black demographic. If you want black guys to come to your channel, well, you can't do better than her, because she's a, you know, she's a very attractive and also very feminine black woman. She doesn't have the attitude that you sometimes get, like where it's just like a kind of stereotype, like ghetto mama. She's like very normal, but whatever. So it's really stupid. But so why not, like you were saying, I think you have this sort of mind. You could see like where there's an opportunity when someone's doing something stupid, who should be shut down because he's a terrible person. Why not troll it, you know? And I don't know.
Well, you guys were doing that, and then you guys went way too far with it, and then, you know, there was the consequences. Like, I think driving to Fat Camp was like too far, even though I hate Keemstar, and I did think you know, there were some funny moments that came out of it. At the end of the day, I just think it's.
Oh no, it was funny. Yeah, it was worth it. It was good.
It ultimately didn't. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it to go to those.
I would say it was successful.
And you guys were with the Local Rejects original. I think that, you know, and even like Becky said, she would watch that show. You know, the hosts were watching your show.
That's true. At one point in time, the Thorps had a rival Local Live channel, and they were doing that, and that was good for them. They were at their peak then, but then it started changing. They got tired of it or something.
Oh, so why did you guys? Why'd you stop doing that kind of coverage?
Yeah, you know, actually, I think you could give like, yeah, we were like anti-Local. We did pretty well, but I do think like you said, like if you've manufactured drama, it gets old, and we didn't really care that much about Local Live. You know what I mean? We weren't part of it that much. And so at a certain point, we felt like we had to milk drama, and that wasn't really fair to the audience. You know what I mean? And some of it is so stupid, honestly. Could you imagine reviewing a lot of the stuff? It's just, oh, are they fired or not? You know what I mean? It's like,
it's hard.
How many times can you have that conversation?
Yeah, see, and that's why I can't really watch the Local stuff, because it's like the whole, like, are they fired? Are they not fired? It's the same thing over and over. And I'm like, what's the point? You know?
And take it seriously before, you know, you just say, but there are occasionally interesting things that happen. I also think Boogie is a really great performer. I actually think between Boogie and Becky, they're the whole like quality that remains. Everyone else is sort of garbage, except Keemstar is himself the biggest Local. I think he makes Boogie look like a healthy human being in comparison.
I do think that he's the best.
It is funny coming from Ben. I'm so sorry. It's a little funny.
And I watch for the Keem Local moments, especially between the dynamic between him and Becky is kind of interesting. And they have so much drama and like weird tension. And it's the things that go off the rails in that way that make it interesting. But Keem,
because that's sort of real.
We'll never see himself that way. That's
off the leash. You know. She's not controllable. I don't know how she made it through, but I guess I don't know. Like, I think he can't. Boogie's not that controllable either. And he knows if he lets go of either of them, like, that channel is dead. If you have Tina on there just yelling and screaming, it's going to be boring. And then, like, you literally would just have Keemstar on the Local Live channel and Rostov. I mean,
Rostov injured himself. I was going to watch another clip of Rostov I think it's Keem has a fetish for watching huge autistic men do jumping jacks. They were begging Rostov to do jumping jacks, but he had a sprained leg or something. He gets up. This guy's 400 pounds. He does one jumping jack. You hear a, and his knee pops and he falls.
Oh man, that's nasty. Oh
around screaming.
Yeah.
And of course,
that
psychopath
hurts,
Keemstar's like, he's faking. And like, he stops the stream. I don't think he's faking because I heard the pop and other people did too. But it's deranged.
Well, the interesting thing, if you were to rewind way back, when I think what's his name was still on the show, the other fat guy, Wings of Redemption, and there's a quote, Grace.
Man, the best part about Wings of Redemption is when he got into a fight with Keem and threw down his wife. Dude, they should have given him a raise for that. That was great. I don't know why they fired him for that. That's good stuff, man.
Clipped it where he's like, I get it. I'm making all the wrong moves. Let me fail. And he is actually failing. I mean, if you look at the numbers.
He says that often. He says it more and more. He copes more and more about why the numbers are down. He's like, oh, on Saturdays in the summer, everyone's outside. And, you're not really getting coverage unless you're, talking about I
want to take this. Look at this. Ruby and Ben are getting along. I mean, is this truce going to be for real?
Dubs and like, blah, blah, blah. Like, and it's like, dude, the more you say this, the more it just highlights that the numbers are going down. But then he's like pulling and pushing for more and more donations and donating to himself more and more just to make the numbers inflated. He doesn't, it's like, it's all about creating this illusion of Keemstar, the success. And like, that's
and I mean, I do have to give him credit, whatever it was, whether it was the timing or whatever. He has a certain eye for things, that are interesting.
Absolutely. He has his talent to manage to, maintain relevancy for this long, have some successful shows, but like a lot of his success is tied to his failure. That's why he's not afraid to fail, because he's just like, drama is drama. No matter what, it's good. It's good if everything goes bad. And like, I just don't know if that's going to work forever, but it has worked for a while.
Yeah, but actually, drama is drama unless it's pointed at him and then he gets rid of it. And that's the problem, because it will always get pointed at him. Yeah. So, I don't know.
I want to see if they mention anything more about the truce.
It'd be interesting. I would love to talk to Pupstar. Maybe I already do, but like, I would either love to continue talking with her or whatever, because once
we get that too, Ben is still talking with Pupstar. Okay.
You find someone who's willing to like, once you find someone who's willing to say like, you know what? I'm not hoping to eventually get hired. I think we can make it on our own. And I mean that not just her, but you, Grace, Lynx, Savage, and just put aside everything else and just go for the bag. And don't worry about the personal shit. Like, it's guaranteed to win. You've got more, like, I've always said this about you. You've got more talent in your little finger than 90% of the.
Okay, chat. I put a poll there. Is Ben working with Pupstar? Let me make that a little bit more understandable, what I'm asking. Is Ben working with Pupstar as a rogue agent to sneak into the Keemstar universe to mess things up? Because that's what Keemstar and those other clowns believe. And at this point, I want them to fear it. I want them to fear that reality. I want to say yes. I want to say yes, that was what was happening. That also begs the question, has Ben been playing this long game with Pupstar? Like, this whole time messing around in LA and all this other stuff, was there like a background play? A plan to get back at Keemstar?
Cast. I would say Becky's legit, and I would say Boogie's legit, but I think they will.
No, Becky's not legit. She did not drink that hot sauce. That was not hot sauce she drank. Okay?
They'd leave for greener pastures at this point, because I don't think the money's really that good, and the humiliation and stuff, it's a high price to pay.
they pay with their whole lives just become about this, you know, and Keem just needs more and more control. It seems like a 24/7 thing. I don't know if you saw, I can play a clip of Glammy had this like insane.
I did see that.
Did you see that? Okay.
It was fun. I mean, it was funny, but I feel bad for her. But like, that's kind of Kino. I get how putting someone in that position is funny, and she's being a lol cow because she's too sincere and she doesn't get that like this is a ridiculous thing to get upset about.
Way too into it, but it's like,
but also
knows
as a human being,
people, you know, like.
But also as a human being, like, yeah, she's legit. Like, the screws aren't all there. She's like way too into it, and they're just exploiting it for laughs, and it's sadistic. That is sadistic. I don't think that's healthy to do. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I don't think they have to. If they just let people be crazy and be on these shows and just be themselves, the drama will happen. It'll be more drama than you want.
That's right.
I agree.
You just gotta have to let them be natural. Let them be themselves, man.
Fakeness, it just delegitimizes stuff, and I just don't get it. But obviously, there's something there. There's thousands of people watching. They are paying, even though it's going down. There's still those thousands of people there. They're still paying. And I just want to understand. I just want to understand.
I mean, if you look at like when we went down to Texas, I get it. We were in some ways trolling them, but actually, the more interesting content was just getting to know the area and the people in the area, and they could have done that just as easily as we could have done it.
Yeah,
but they just keep everything. I hate to use the word, but like it's kind of incestuous, right? It has to be.
Well, I don't know if you hate to use the word, Ben. I think you kind of like that word.
Only people that you completely control, and then you have to make shit up to keep it going. And then some of it's real. A lot of it is real, but it gets old. But I guess there's an audience for it, so you've got to, I guess you got to give them props. But it is dwindling.
Yeah.
So I think something could happen from the outside that could open it up, and I think Keemstar would actually lean into it at a certain point because he does like to win in the end, even at his own expense. So I don't know. It's just something to think about because I really don't. I've heard you kind of making overtures to say like, let's have a truce, and I think just as streamers, even if you say like, oh, I personally whatever
truce talk
as streamers, like both of our audiences are kind of bored at this point with just the same old shit. So, I mean,
yeah, I'm Truce, or like, we can be competitive, but I just like, we can just put away, I'm not going to try to like call anything around you guys. You don't call anything around mine. Don't fuck with our trip. You can restream it, make the, I'm sure, you can mock the hell out of everything you do. That's all fine. Just no real stuff.
I'd rather have us work together. And then if we have a common enemy, and it's not really an enemy, but like if we have, we could, instead of like we end up plateauing, both of us end up plateauing at a certain point. If you take on a bigger fish together, I think we could both succeed. And it doesn't even have to necessarily be at their expense. I honestly think if we were able to troll LolCow live, they would benefit from it. They would have benefited if they had interacted with us when they were there more. But I get it. They want the control. So. Anyways,
all right. Well, I wanted to go back to the clip, and it cut out there for a sec. But
all right. Our Ben's gonna leave.
Well, thank you for being cordial. I appreciate the IRL truce. Be critical, whatever. But anyway, peaceful times moving forward. Okay.
Take care, Ruby.
All right. Bye.
There you have it. We played the whole thing. Right. We played the whole thing there. The Ben part of it. Like I said, Ben was actually the best part of this stream. This truce, is this real? Are they actually going to be able to work together? Ben and Grace Thorp work with Ruby. I mean, both sides have gone very personal. Very personal. Well, like Ben said, I mean, he's not really playing chess here. He's revealing his moves. He's playing checkers. It's like you know what's going to happen. You know what it is. You know what the move is going to be. He's letting you know. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. There's a common enemy. Well, sort of. It's Keemstar. It's always really been Keemstar if you think about it. He's the bigger fish. And now they have like this energy to kind of create like this. I think there's an idea here to create another local rival. Using Puffstar. Is Ben gonna create his own little local rival show? Is he really just gonna be the man behind it and not actually be on there? Or is he gonna just be on there every now? What? And is Ruby really gonna collab? Because that would actually require collaborating with Ben Thorp and Grace Thorp. Can they keep it together long enough to actually create one episode? Just one episode of that. I gotta tell you, I don't know who this pup star is, but if it's someone that spicy that Keemstar can't control, then you combine her with Grace, and you combine her with the Savage Lady, you combine her with some other like high energy, kind of, drama intense women. Oh, okay. That could be a show. I'll watch that. Oh, I would definitely watch it for real. I kind of want to take a shot for this. I think it's called for. A little toast. The Thorps probably see me as an enemy. I'm not an enemy. I'm just a guy, just a dude streaming in a shed that likes to talk about this stuff. Okay? That's what I am. Here's my toast. May there be success and the new direction of Ruby and Thorps combined. May they take on Keem and have success doing that. Okay. That was good. I'm feeling it.